Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. Today, I am your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Connor,
Hello.
Brewer,
What's up, everybody?
and Liam.
Hello there.
You guys hear that?
Yeah, it sounds real threatening, like some giant, muscle-bound, hot man is about to break my spine.
What are you talking about? It's just some dumb music.
Silence, boy.
Who are you calling boy?
You boy!
Liam, I'm gonna be a little honest. I don't think this is a fight you want to pick.
Shut up, Connor. I'm gonna kick these guys into Helheim itself.
Watch your tone, boy!
Bring it on!
Watch it.
Ow! Stop it.
That's what you get, boy, little punk-ass bitch.
But I think, if y'all couldn't catch the memo by now, we're talking about God of War today. Specifically, God of War 2018. What's great about it? Why do we love it? Why is it the best game to be ever made? Why do we love it? Why is this game good? It's a good game.
Boy.
So- I think we need to start talking with what exactly is God of War? I'll start. God of War 2018 is the soft reboot of the God of War franchise, which is a PlayStation Sony exclusive that is one of the foundation pieces of PlayStation in terms of their catalog. And not only does it show Kratos in a more wise, calmed down role as a new father figure to Atreus, but it shows the character going through more of a redemption. Because if you know anything about Kratos, bro goes fucking ham in the games prior to God of War 2018.
Man is unhinged. He is just a wild animal.
Bro goes crazy. But the idea is that with this new reboot, they decided to take Kratos in a new direction in terms of character, and not only in character but also the setting, because the past God of War games prior to 2018 all took place in Greece, with the Greek gods being the main pantheon. Now going up all the way to the Norse gods in Norway. So it's a very big change, not only for the character himself, Kratos, but also just the scenery and the mythology around him.
Yeah, it is very
Which also gives
interesting.
the You first.
Sorry, I was just saying it's very interesting the direction God of War as a series has gone. Mostly just with like the original games, like very hack and slashy. Like it's still hack and slash in the new games, but going from Greece, where Kratos was going sicko mode on everything, and just absolutely going wild on stuff, to the more calmed down state we get now. It's very interesting direction that the series took.
I think we should talk about the story a little bit, not the big story stuff, but why he is more calmed down like that.
Alright, let me handle this.
Go for it.
Kratos, as we know, a very angry guy. He got a bit of an anger issue, and he ends up doing some pretty big things in Greece. I won't say what he does, but let's just say Greece is not in a good state. So
It's very
Kratos-
kooky.
Kratos leaves, and you know what he does? He bangs a woman and has a child, and that child is named Atreus.
You know, this
And
is why I can't find Kratos relatable.
Yeah, true.
Because he gets bitches.
But so basically, the whole shift from Kratos being big angry guy to stoicism is because he has a son, and that son he loves this woman. She dies. It's in the very beginning of the game, so I don't think it matters if I say that.
Yeah.
And that is part of his life gone, and now he is left alone to take care of his only son, his only living child, and he can't really be angry and do that.
Yeah, well, I think another part of it too is with the original trilogy, like I said, Kratos was a very, very angry man. But we're not going to spoil what exactly he did. But after everything he did, it's kind of that question of what do you have left in your life after that? After you've achieved that goal and unleashed your rage, what are you left with? And I think the Kratos that we got after that in 2018 is kind of the answer to that question of just
Yeah.
life keeps going on even after all those horrible things. So, and you kind of just have to learn from it and be better.
It does, and the thing is that like going alongside with Liam, with his wife dying, that's literally the premise of the game. So in past God of War games, like God of War 3, the intro to that game is literally Kratos alongside the other Titans launching a massive attack on the gods of Olympus. It's much more downscaled in this game. It's Kratos and his son with they are tasked to spread his late wife's ashes on the highest peak in all the 9 realms. And personally, I think that is the best story choice they could have gone for. Much more laid back, lower stakes. It's not more so like something they have to do, but it's more so something they need to do as people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as a soft reboot, it's like a great introduction because it sets up a simple premise that's very easy to understand for the audience, but it still leaves a lot of questions with like Kratos as a character, even for people who are like brand new to the series. Of like just why is he doing this? Is like what was his attachment to his wife? Is like what is this past that he had behind him that he doesn't want to bring up? It just leaves a lot of questions that you want to keep playing the game to get answers for.
Exactly. And I think the thing that cements this game as one of the favorites, well, it's one of my favorite games for a lot of reasons, but one thing I want to talk about in particular with that is Kratos, like, and his relationship to Atreus. But to give further context, Kratos in the original God of War series, this is not a spoiler because it's literally just Google how Kratos got his ashes or his white skin. Kratos was sent on a mission by Ares when he was enslaved to him to take down a certain encampment, but Ares put his wife and daughter in that encampment without Kratos knowing, and in a fit of rage, he accidentally kills his wife and daughter. And because of this, he was cursed to wear the ashes of his wife and daughter on him always, which is why he's white and pale. But the thing is that Kratos does not want that to happen again with his son, which is why he's calmer. Which obviously his son is not the primary reason as to why he calmed down, but the change from, God who is willing to take others' lives for his own benefit to someone who's prioritizing this one child of his over anything else is such a drastic shift in character. And frankly, there was a lot of stuff going around the time of the game's release saying, is this our Kratos? Is this a different character? Yada yada yada. Like, and no, it's the same character. That's just they decided to go with a completely different direction with him, and it worked out in the end, in my opinion.
And that's really funny because the original creator of God of War, the guy who made Kratos, does not like the direction that they took Kratos. He calls him a baby.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that's very crazy considering like just how much good reception they had to like 2018 Kratos. Because I was thinking like that would be a decision like from the original creator, like to take a different direction with the character that paid off. But no, that wasn't his decision. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's you first.
I was gonna say, it's a very strange situation in my opinion, because as someone who wants to be a writer, you value your characters that you make, especially if it's someone as popular as Kratos.
I
Yeah,
agree with
definitely. I think it's another question too of like what the audience wants versus like what the author intends. Like, let's say an author, they're writing a character, they intend for like the main character to be the one everyone loves, but for some reason this weird side character is the one everyone loves instead. So like what does the creator kind of do with that when the audience loves something you didn't intend to ever be this big, while the part of it that you did want the audience to love, they're falling back on that?
Yeah, so there's a piece of writing advice that I've heard every now and then where you shouldn't. It basically goes as you shouldn't write to try to please everyone. You should write for yourself, and then the people who like what you write will gravitate towards that. And I agree with it. I don't think you should try to please your audience fully, because if you do, then your show, your game, your series, whatever, it can become bad, because then you're just giving in the fan service, and fans aren't the smartest when it comes to actually making the decisions for that media. And but I also like disagree with it, because if you're writing something that the audience just doesn't like, then what you're writing for is just inevitably going to go down the drain. And I think that's something that you sort of have to keep in mind. And I'm gonna sort of try to pivot this back to God of War, because now I'm just rambling about writing stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, if you're gonna end the point there, Connor,
Yeah,
something I was gonna.
that's basically it. It's just that I overall think the change in Kratos was a very good idea, especially as someone who wasn't even like I didn't even know how many God of War games had come out before playing 2018. And so I think the character that you get in 2018 is amazing, because of how it sort of just it feels perfect for what the game is trying to go for, is what I'm sort of trying to say.
I had watched the Raising Kratos documentary that PlayStation released, I think, like a year after God of War came out, and the director of God of War 2018, who he also directed God of War 2, which is often regarded as the second best or third best game in the entire series, right behind God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. But essentially, what I'm getting to is that he had a child between God of War 2's release and the development of God of War 2018. And he said himself that having a kid completely changed his perspective on how he views the world. And he thought he would apply that with Kratos too, considering that he was going to a completely new setting. So why not do this with the story as well? Which kind of leads into the next thing I think we should talk about is how this game like really works as a standalone compared to the other games. I won't lie when I say that God of War 2018 is my first God of War game that I played uh, for like fully. Which, to be fair, it's hard to play the God of War games nowadays because they're either trapped on the PS Vita or they just haven't remastered one or two.
Yeah, that or
But
you have to play them on like the cloud version. Ew.
yeah, screw that
It's
shit.
like the only one of the original trilogy that I could say you could somewhat easily play is like God of War 3, because that got a like PS4 remaster. But for some reason they never remastered 1 and 2. So you just gotta stream them. Either that or go buy a PS2 and then get the games. I don't know. It's dumb.
No, I get that. But I think that goes for everyone here in terms of like the first God of War game they played. Let's show of hands, like who played it first. I know I did.
I think it is everyone here.
I
Yeah, but that's the thing. It works well because you can just go into it first. Like, obviously, I think you'll have more satisfaction with a good amount of the context of Kratos as a character, but honestly, you could just look up a 30-minute summarization of the games and you should be fine. But the point I'm
I'd
trying
say
to
it's still better. I don't know about
Yeah,
just
so-
looking up summaries to get ideas of the character. I think it's still probably good to try and play those
Well,
games if possible.
something I was actually sort of going at earlier was that I think I mean that's the case for me. Like, I went into God of War 2018 like basically having zero idea what the character was, because the only reason I got it is because Guy kept telling me, hey, you should play this, hey, you should play this, hey, you should play this. And so when I first played it, I basically had very little understanding of Kratos' character. And I think how the game goes through its story and how it goes through its characters perfectly works as a standalone, because it gives you just enough like details and like sort of like flashbacks here and there to where you have enough context, but it's not like you need to play the first games in order to understand it.
Yeah, the game it's great for like probably the older players because they can understand a lot of the references to the past. But then the new players, like basically all of us in here, we still were able to enjoy the game because it still gave us like a decent idea of like what exactly happened in Kratos' past and
See,
why he's the way he is now.
I had a very rudimentary understanding of Kratos. I knew like the storyline, but I didn't experience it myself. But like any moment in the game that was a callback, I was like, okay, I can understand why he doesn't want this side of him to be shown to his son or to other people, because it is something that he, rightfully so, is ashamed of. And I think it kind of speaks to a lot of people when it's like we have stuff in our past that we don't want other people to see, and Kratos is relatable that way. And then he goes, boy.
Boy.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone.
Boy.
But Kratos is basically just like he goes from like god-slaying maniac who just has a insatiable thirst for blood to dad. Someone that's like a lot more relatable. Someone who we can understand where his pain is coming from, where his like struggle is, and I think that's what makes him a better character. And for the sake of a standalone game, it's something that's very easily digestible of, hey, dad that wants to be a good dad, but it struggles.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's something that like just a lot of people can relate to, considering that like, you know, even like obviously we're not parents yet, but it's crazy how like relatable Kratos is, because he's trying to do his best, even though like he knows he's failed before, but he still wants to do what he can to do better.
Yeah,
Be
and
better.
the best part of him being a dad is that he says boy a lot.
True.
Boy.
Boy.
Boy, what do you
Boy. We love Christopher Judge.
boy, stop
Yeah,
playing
no,
that
okay.
And his very
cringe-ass
long Game Award speeches.
boy,
As a
stop
side note,
cringe-ass
Christopher Judge gave
FIFA.
one of the best performances in any video game. For both
I-
Ragnarok and 2018.
He's a fantastic voice actor.
I think
Oh yeah.
it sort of speaks to how good the Kratos voice is, because you will like, if you ever get on the topic of God of War with anyone who's played the games, 90% of it is just going to be them going boy.
Well, that and like during like the Game Awards speech, Christopher Judge was like telling the voice actor for Atreus, like, read it, boy. And then the crowd went wild. Just because he
Well,
said, read it,
I
boy.
remember that. That was awesome.
What's really cool too is that voice actor for Kratos is not the original Kratos. They took it into a completely different way, where the original Kratos is like extremely like angry, loud, like very, very like tyrant-like voice, where he's just like wants people dead. And then this one is like, bro just has a deep voice, and it works so well for the character.
Yeah.
But then he
Boy.
Yes,
also
it
like
does.
he also portrays like his discontent with himself very well.
Yeah. Boy, stop playing that
Kratos-
cringe-ass FIFA and
Kr-
play God of War.
Kratos is just that kind of guy. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, we have not done the heinous shit that Kratos has done, but it's just going back to the point of him, like, being a character you can relate to in trying to better yourself, does, in my opinion, like, it helps the game in the fact of, like, this could be a starting point for anyone, because not only is it a relatable point that anyone can sympathize with, of, like, hey, we're trying to be better, we're always trying to redeem for our mistakes, and we're always trying to do good for those around us that we care about, but it's also the fact that, like, the game, I think, does an excellent job. Like Liam mentioned earlier, it feeds you some information about the past games without without telling you, the entire lore the God of War series, but you still understand what's going on. You still, sympathize with Kratos in his struggle. There's a particular point in one of the realms where Kratos, something gets revealed to Atreus that Kratos was not wanting, and it was out of his control, and it's done without any vocalization between Atreus and Kratos at this point, but through visuals alone and the sound cues, you can tell exactly what's going on, and you can still understand like why Kratos would not want Atreus to see this.
Yeah, that and
You
like
all know
the
what scene I'm
animation
talking about.
too, because you can just see on his like face as well. Like it's like just a face of regret.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But that regret gets turned into anger, and that anger gets turned into based gameplay, which I think we should talk about next.
I think
Dude,
the
it is so satisfying.
the God of War 2018
All right,
gameplay makes you feel a
talk
lot like
about that
Kratos, in which
gameplay.
that and well, what I'm saying by that
It
I
mainly
mean
makes
it
you
makes you
feel
feel
like
like a
the God of
Chad,
War.
because Kratos
the
is a
gameplay-
Chad.
Epic. Here's why the gameplay is epic. Because you press L3 and R3 and you get angry. And then you punch people. And that's all you need in a video game for it to be good.
You're right.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that we need to like make the comparison. Y'all are gonna sigh at me, but this is just how the game was designed.
Oh,
It takes a
Dark
good
Souls.
amount. It takes a good amount of inspiration from the
You're ready
Souls
to boo
series
him.
in terms of like,
Boo! 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 You suck! You're garbage! We hate you!
Oh my god!
Go to your room, boy.
Boy, stop talking about Dark Souls, boy.
I also
Okay,
just
now
don't
with that
agree
aside,
with you.
what was your point, Guy?
point that I was trying to make is that it has the essential like, dodge for invincibility, R1 for light attack, R2 for heavy attack, that whole shebang, and the camera on your shoulder, third person action adventure, customization, etc. But it does it in its own way. So the essential gameplay of God of War 2018 is Kratos has his weapons that are available to him, his bare fucking fist, and you have to use them in strings of combos using the R1 and R2 buttons to effectively win each combat encounter. Which, if I'm to bring this up, I think this is the one only real flaw with God of War 2018. I think it's the enemy variety. I think it has a little bit of a lack of enemy variety, not only in the base
that's a
enemies, but
common
also the mini
complaint.
bosses.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
the mini bosses, because those damn trolls kept showing up. I'm like, stop it. Please, give me some variety.
Guys,
Oh no, it's the troll with the big stone for the
Oh
17th
no,
time.
it's the guy I've faced like 9 times already.
hey guy, really quickly, what did you say Kratos uses as his fist?
His bare fist.
No, you said something in between those.
Bare fucking fist.
He does what with those fists?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I just,
Wait, this isn't Baldur's Gate 3. What the hell? Hold
Baldur. Wait, you mean Baldur?
Okay, we're getting
From God of
sidetracked. I think
War?
let's move to like with the gameplay, how like kind of evolved from the original series, because like I played snippets of the originals like gameplay wise, and a lot of it can feel a bit button mashy. Like it's pretty fun, but I feel like this unstoppable force of nature most of the times. Like you got your long blades of chaos with like those long chains. You can reach just about anything with that. Whereas like with the new game, I still felt very strong, but I also felt equally as vulnerable. Like it would punish me if I was like just trying to mess around and do stupid shit.
Yeah. That's also, I think, something that benefits the game with its over-the-shoulder camera. Because the original series was much, much, much more hack and slash in terms of combat and, you just piling through enemies. But because the game is over your shoulder now, you have much more control of how the camera works, and because of that, I feel like the game, like you said, you're more vulnerable because of it, because they try to make it more challenging.
Well, I think it feels more meaningful when I fight the enemies too. Like it feels like a lot of times a one-on-one, or like when I feel surrounded, I properly like feel surrounded. I don't feel like, oh man, I can just bum rush these guys. I'm like, okay, I need to carefully think about how I can take these out, which it gives you a lot of options for. So like the first thing that they gave you was like your Leviathan axe is the throwing and recalling. It's very satisfying, and you can keep upgrading onto it. Like, oh, I can target multiple enemies. I can throw it at them. I can rush into them, hit them with my bare fist, and then if I call the axe back to me, then boom, that does extra damage, and I can link that into a runic attack, which is a special like charge attack that you get that recharges like every like 30 to 60 seconds, and will give you a powerful attack to deal with certain types of enemies.
I think, dude, the fact that the axe can be recalled, I think is the one of the most raw feelings you can have in any video game.
It was so raw.
It's
Oh,
it's
dude,
so
especially
fucking satisfying.
when it
Makes
was
me feel
like
like a man.
really far away, so it takes like a couple seconds to come back to you, dude. And then like you just like hear it, you can hear it, and then it just like it has like impact when it gets back into his hand. It's so good every single time.
They do a really good job of just like making you feel powerful with it. Because like if I charge up the axe to like slash into an enemy, the camera vibrates. I hear Kratos go, yeah, and just like chop the
Boy.
motherfucker in half.
Yeah, something. This sort of goes into gameplay, but I love how the game actually makes you feel like as Liam said, the God of War, because
All the
you will.
swagger of a God of War.
Yeah, exactly. Because you rip and just like Doomslayer, you rip and tear through like every enemy, like even like the big enemies, like because of like I know there's these werewolf like enemies in the game, and you like I'm pretty sure you like tear them and clean in half through their jaws. Like it is insane how powerful you feel while playing as Kratos.
Oh yeah, that's one of the like I don't want to say the insta kill meter, but it's kind of an insta kill meter. Um, it's called the stun meter, which is it's a mechanic in the game where if you hit enemies with enough stun damage, then a little stun bar below their health will fill up. When it's maximized, you can press the R3 button to either do like a finisher move or a move that allows you to do a certain attack or a good amount of damage to one enemy for a few seconds. There are even builds in the game that you can do where you can increase your stun damage to do more of those attacks and also power yourself up after you do those kind of attacks. Which kind of thing I think should transition to a point of like it really goes into the RPG section in terms of like customization and how you can build yourself. Which I hate to say it, another flaw of the game is the rarity system with the armor. Which I mean they fix in New Game Plus, but if you're playing on the like the base version of the game, you can have like a really cool build with a certain piece of armor, but it objectively just gets outclassed because there is a armor piece that has higher rarity than it that does better, if that makes sense.
I hated that so much because like I used the ancient set a good bit because like a lot of my build was like glass cannon, just like all strength and all runic, and I tried to like build to that as much as I could. And like I remember towards like the end of the game, like I had some really good armor pieces, but for my braces I couldn't find a good armor piece that would be good for my build, so I was stuck using the ancient one that I couldn't upgrade anymore because of the rarity system. It was just keeping me from like going up even further.
Yeah, I think that really fucking sucks, considering that like there's some really cool armor pieces that give you certain skills, but they just don't. You just can't really carry them in the post game because of like their rarity, which I do think God of War Ragnarok for fixing. You can take the first piece of armor you obtain in the game all the way to the super boss in post game, and it still is viable.
Yeah,
Which I thank the game a lot for.
yeah. This is semi unrelated, but I still think it's related to the gameplay. Something I really like about the gameplay is that even though you feel like this absolute like just wrecking ball of destruction as when you're playing with as Kratos, the world itself still feels like a very big threat. Like it doesn't feel like you're invulnerable because this game is insanely hard. Like not even if you're doing like the hardest difficulty, it's a pretty hard game, especially on your first playthrough.
Wait, hold up. You think 2018 is hard?
I died a lot when I was playing it.
Did you play on normal or hard?
I'm pretty sure I started on hard.
Okay, that makes sense.
I was about to say, like, did you mean the Valkyries, maybe?
No. I died a lot throughout
Okay.
the game a good lot, and that might just be because I'm not super great as at games like that, at like God of War. But I still think it's a pretty difficult game, all things considered.
Yeah, I think you did mention in like the Hi-Fi Rush vid that you don't do too many hack and slashes.
No,
That's fair.
But
No,
I
that's
still,
understandable. Yeah.
I
You
still
first.
like that detail because it does make you feel a lot like, you know, Kratos isn't the
You
person
really
he wants.
feel like Spider-Man.
I really feel like I have the
I feel the exaggerated swagger of an
Of a
angry
smart-
father.
Of a traumatized Spartan.
yeah, because
Holy shit.
memes aside, it does feel like Kratos is sort of like not who he once was, and like that's sort of like both a good thing and bad thing because it's a good thing because he's moving past his terrible past, he's moving past that, but on the other hand, he's sort of seen starts getting seen as sort of weaker, and that's not even me like the audience, that's like in the world itself, like a lot of people, especially in the main story, sort of see him as like a sort of not as much as a threat as he once was. And I think that's something that's really cool to do for like a soft reboot of a game, especially with the direction it goes in.
Yeah, it acknowledges that like he's older, which I do get you mean. They do like a very subtle job of that.
Yeah, because like every enemy is very dangerous. There's not a single enemy that you can just be like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore you. So I think what I like about its combat as well is it does a lot to try to prevent you from just like button mashing, unlike other hack and slashes. Like one thing I like using a
especially,
lot
yes.
was the stance changes. Is after you attack, you don't attack, pause for about 1 second. Kratos would get in a new stance and it would give you like some special attacks. I feel like that's a good way to like give players more time to think about like the combos they're doing and then like follow up on them as well. That along with the other options to like make it easier for newcomers, like being able to throw and recall the axe a bunch. Like, yeah, I could go rush in and try to fight these enemies, but if my health is low, maybe I could just like space it out for a second, throw the axe, try to get a freeze on them, and then rush in and try to beat the snot out of them with my fist.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is a great point because one of my most hated games. You can fight me if you want to. I hate Kingdom Hearts 3, and my biggest gripe with that.
I mean, I don't
with
think that's a
that-
hot take. There's a lot of people that don't like Kingdom Hearts 3.
there's a couple diehard fans, but one of my biggest gripes with that game is you press the triangle, Y, whatever button,
Press
top
the X
on the
button to
controller,
win. Yeah.
and you press one button and you win. In God of War, if you just press R1, 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 you're gonna get overwhelmed. You can't like it's not gonna do much because there are enemies that this is a good mechanic that I think needs to be brought up. Certain enemies are resistant to the axe because they're from
They're from the
Niflheim-
cold place.
Niflheim or anywhere that's like
Helheim, yeah.
or Helheim, yeah, Helheim. And then like there's people from like Muspelheim are more resistant to like fire because they're from the it's like a volcano that they're in. And so you have to switch between your weapons or else you're not going to do well. There's things that are very highly resistant to the axe and the blades, but they're susceptible to stun, which means you need to hit them with your fists. So like it brings a good blend of like fast-paced gameplay, switching between weapons, switching your combos, and then it all like culminates when you get sick runic attacks. Like my favorite for the axe was the ice beam, where you just literally just.
Oh yeah,
I love
Funnily enough, I think my
The
favorite from
Kamehameha.
the axe, at least for the heavy attack, was literally the first one you get, like a Valdi's anvil.
That's not a heavy, that's a light, which is insane because it like you just.
No, I
mow
think
down
it was
people.
heavy. The one where he like
That was a
picks up his
light.
axe, jumps up and slams it
Oh, no,
down.
not the.
Oh, that's a
Invaldi, I was
heavy. Yeah,
talking
that's a heavy.
about-
But the
I was talking
first runic
the-
attack you get in the game is a light.
No, I was talking about first heavy. You get to
Yeah.
use the first one. You get is Hell's Touch. I like that one
And this
'cause
is
it was
where
quick.
it's
but-
difficult for me because I can't remember which runic attacks were in God of War 2018 and which ones were in
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. But I know this one was in God of War 2018. Another great one is with the Blades of Chaos. You stick your blades in the ground and then you like fly them up, and then a giant like wave of fire comes out, and it's sick.
I think
All
that
of
one's
the-
called Tartarus's Rage. I actually use that one a lot.
It's
all
so
of-
good.
I do want to follow up on that though, by like
Oh,
saying,
dude, the
like I
runic
was saying before,
attacks.
they will punish you for just throwing shit out. And one way I got punished, like in a lot of the boss fights that are more resistant to like stun, I would use that Tartarus Rage attack. And if I used it at the wrong time, because it has a long animation, the boss would come in and just pummel me and just like smack me for using it. Because
Oh, yeah.
I probably should have thought to maybe not use the big spinny Beyblade attack while they're getting ready to launch a huge attack at me.
No,
So
that's
it really
fair,
makes
man.
me like think with like my combos and not just like, okay, use this attack, wait for cooldown, use it again. Like I said, it very submersively like makes you just like think about what you're doing, and it slowly teaches you like how to build combos without like outright telling you.
And what the great thing about the combat system it is the fact that it is only amplified by the music of the game, because this soundtrack is a banger.
Yes, it is. Bum,
Yeah.
bum.
Yeah, its horns were like very powerful during a lot of the gameplay.
Okay, because here's the thing: it's Norse mythology, so it's got a lot of like Nordic type. I don't know, like Nordic like music, but like the absolute like triumphant brass instruments of the soundtrack are like make me cum. Like I cum my pants.
Dude, honestly, same here.
Yeah, well, they have a good mix too, because like the battle themes are like really hype, but then like for the smaller, more personal moments in the game, they still have a good mix of just like the more quiet and gentle themes in there. Just so it isn't like
yeah.
nonstop, like, oh fuck yeah, heavy metal. It's like, take a moment to relax, boy, and view the scenery around you.
Because the thing
Holy
about
fuck,
the
I
music. Oh, what's up? You go.
I completely forgot to mention this. This goes alongside the music, because the music I have to give the composers a good job to, because not only did they have to sync the music up to the cutscenes, but the fact of the matter is that the game is in one shot. So, to explain that, in film, typically when you make a scene is comprised of shots, which is like a snippet of footage that is edited together. So if you were to press your record button on your phone and then press it again, that video that you just took, that's a shot. God of War is framed in a singular shot.
They
Throughout
do a
the
really
gameplay,
smart
the
job
story,
with
the
that.
cutscenes, it's crazy.
Yeah, because like I was thinking, was there ever a loading screen in the game? And there wasn't.
when you die.
'cause yeah, I mean that makes sense though. You died. The story narratively is like ending there, so you're loading back to a previous point. But in the game, if you don't die, you won't see a single loading screen. Mostly because they do a very, very smart job of hiding it with character interactions. Like the one I love the most is like when you're trying to get from place to place, you'll be in the boat, you'll be with your son and this other guy, don't want to say his name, but they'll usually tell some like tales of like the lands, which were really entertaining. Like I would wait to like get to my next location because I was like, wait, I want to hear the rest of the story. This is good. That
No,
and
that's
other
fair.
things like the animation, like you get a realm travel stone that lets you go to this weird blue place to travel in between. The thing is though, in game, that's the explanation for how you travel lore wise. But also, it's a really smart way of hiding loading screens.
The
Because
world tree.
I was just trying to make it quick.
Oh no, I was just like, because it's all based in like real Norse mythologies, and it's like really
Yeah.
interesting. And then, like,
I was
you
just
said,
trying to make it a simple explanation because what I was gonna
That's-
bleed into
fair.
is when you're traveling in there, the door that appears isn't always at the same place, and that's because it secretly pops up like once it loads in. Now I could be wrong in that because this is all theory, but seeing how games usually do their loading, if I had to take a guess with God of War, the realm travel, they always did a really good job of hiding it with those explanations, and then when you're realm traveling, you may get to hear another story as well. So that does another good job at hiding it.
Oh yeah.
And then once
One thing
you
in,
unlock a new realm as well, it has this big flashy animation to kind of get you hyped for the new world, but also disguising like the loading time of like loading in that like entire new realm as well.
Yeah. But one thing I did want to talk about, like going on alongside with that one shot, is that it's a technical marvel that a game that big, like, decided to frame its entire game narratively and in gameplay in a singular shot, and that just amplifies the quality and the effort it took into the music, which I want to go back to for a sec, in the sense that, like, I think it's incredible how the composers were able to look at a scene with music, be able to time it perfectly with the scene that they saw, and have that in a narrative that is continuously going. You know what I mean? With gameplay involved.
Yeah, definitely.
If y'all get what I mean.
Yeah,
I do get what you mean.
you can always transition from like gameplay to cutscene, and it never feels too out of place.
They usually like to hide it within like kind of like pseudo cutscenes where like Kratos will open a door, but it's like a massive door that a human shouldn't be able to open, so he has to like open it and then push the doors out, and then like it will transition to a cutscene, and then the camera will like go very organically from behind Kratos and then move. And every single time that happens is beautiful because at the same time it usually like changes like the tone of like the game, because you go from like really intense fight to a lot of story and then maybe some exploration, and like the transition from one aspect of the game to the other is so seamless and so like fluid that sometimes you forget that it's a game that like is loading a bunch of shit. It's like you get sucked into like sucked into the gameplay, the story, the exploration, that you're like, oh shit, this is like a now
Masterpiece.
this is now a 7-year-old game.
Yeah, because
Holy shit!
that is crazy. 7 years.
It's gonna be
old.
6 years old this April. Holy shit!
Wait, 6 years old? Can I not do math?
God of War
No.
2018.
Oh. I can't do math.
Liam's-
2018, my bad.
This just in: Liam is in college and cannot do math more.
I'm not a math major.
Fair excuse.
He is he's a twink major.
He's dumb.
Yeah.
Wow,
Man.
Connor. Way to just call him out like that.
That's just like, at least Guy tried to be a little clever, except his only thing is he just calls me a twink, which says more about him than me.
I mean, you guys are gay lovers, so I mean, it's understandable that he would say that.
Speaking of gay lovers, let's talk about Kratos.
Kratos, exactly. Holy
No,
shit.
no.
Because we kind of strayed away from like the like, I don't know,
Kratos as a character.
the whole point of this game is it's like an epic, like a Odysseus or that kind of thing.
You
But
mean the Odyssey?
Odysseus is the main character.
You could have just
it-
called it the Odyssey.
I was talking about the main character, dipshit. Oh
I
my
know you're
god.
Come on, y'all are
The main
both
character.
stupid. Let's talk about
Okay.
Kratos. Let's
Yeah,
talk about Kratos.
Like that's what I wanted to get into. It's a story about characters. It is, as me and Guy say all the time, a simple story, complex characters. Because the story is very, very simple. It is boy, dad want to take mother's ashes to the highest peak in all the 9 realms. Boom. That's the entire story. And it just gets so out of hand. There's so many obstacles in their way that it ends up being a like 30 to 40 hour game. And it's
I think that's how it's meant to
beautiful.
be, because like you're following, the God of War. So stories with gods are usually supposed to be simple to tell like a tale and a lesson, but they're also supposed to be epics with like grand feats in there to really draw you in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like Liam said, it is an epic. It is a myth, and I think
Wait, like Liam
y'all
said-
put it. I mean, y'all said. You get what I mean.
I did say that. What do you mean, Brewer?
Okay, I was about to say. I just thought he was like. I was like, I said epic as well.
No, Brewer. You
No,
and
no.
me
I'm giving y'all.
said
I'm
it
giving y'all credit on that one.
together.
Yeah.
Together, like Kratos and Atreus.
Like Kratos and Atreus. Speaking of which, I'm sorry, but we have kind of completely ignored Atreus.
Yes, we have.
We
Okay.
kind of have. We've
Boy.
been the bad fathers. We went out to get
We've
milk.
ignored the boy.
We need to be better.
We need to learn from Kratos to be better.
We need to
Father.
be better.
It must be better.
Because we haven't really
Boy.
talked about like the side characters because they're almost it's not because Kratos is definitely like the big one. Because his character arc is insane, but every other character is also good. You have Freya, you have Brock and Sindri, you have Baldur.
Baldur.
Like
You
the
have-
game.
Yes, I knew that joke was coming. That's why it took so long to say it. And like Atreus, and like I want to talk mostly about Atreus because
Dude,
he
I
is,
love the relationship between
pseudo-
Kratos and Atreus. It is so sweet.
because the game starts off, Kratos being the stoic father who just lost his wife, but Atreus also lost his mother, and he's a lot closer to his mom than he was his dad. So he now no longer has like that warmth or like that loving mother anymore, and now he is stuck with a father who he kind of is like very off put by because he doesn't know a lot about his own dad. He's like, and now he has to go on this like big journey with him, and like they're both grieving, but they're grieving in very, very different ways. But Atreus has, and I know Connor at one point didn't like the character. Fuck you, Connor. You're
Yeah,
stupid
fuck
for
you,
that.
Connor.
What
You're
the
so
fuck are you
stupid.
talking
Connor.
about?
Fuck you, Connor.
What is
Yeah,
what?
Connor, when you were playing God of War, like during it, you were like, "I don't like Atreus" the entire time.
We didn't forget Connor.
We did not.
That
forget
was
it.
my first playthrough.
My first playthrough, I never hated Atreus, Connor.
No one ever hates Atreus.
You
I
can't
Atreus
hate
I
is
him.
never said I
literally,
hated him. I
Boy,
just said I
you
didn't
cannot
like him
hate him.
because he was a whiny little bitch.
This is 2024, Connor. Not liking him means you hate him.
Yes.
I think he's great. I love him at the end. It's just through through most of it, I just thought he was a whiny little bitch.
Bro,
So
it's
you're
like
telling
12.
me you didn't like him when he said, "What are we hunting? Deer." Okay. Where are they? In the direction of deer. Okay. You're telling me you didn't like Atreus there?
No,
Dude, I like how straight Kratos is. It's like, how do I find a deer? You
actually,
go to the deer.
actually, he's a Spartan, so he's anything but straight. I'm gonna kill myself.
Okay,
Okay,
but as-
moving
going back to
on from that.
Atreus is quite literally the opposite of Kratos in terms of like their roles, because Kratos is much more wise. He's reserved, and he's more so like hey, if it
Careful.
doesn't concern me, I shouldn't do it. Meanwhile, like, Atreus is much more empathetic. He's curious about the world. He makes mistakes all the time, but that's okay because he was a kid. But I think that's important for both characters, considering that they contrast so much as characters that they help both grow each other.
They both
You know
teach
what I
each
mean?
other lessons they couldn't find on their own.
Exactly. And frankly, the narrative just doesn't work without the both of them together. Unlike, you know, what Connor might think. But in terms of, like, what the game is trying to set up as, like, this duo, I think they do it perfectly. And frankly, I'm gonna be honest, I think this might be the best duo in gaming in terms of narrative, gameplay, etc. And I don't think the only thing we've really come close to it is Joel and Ellie, but the reason why I think, like, Kratos and Atreus just outpace them is just, I think they just have better moments. I think they're better, they are written better than Joel and Ellie, and I think they just have a tighter bond, and I think that it's something that you see throughout the entire game.
Yeah, because they have like continuous character growth. Like they're always like trying to learn from each other. Like Atreus, like he's very curious about his father, but is kind of afraid to approach him. Kratos, like he wants to like be a good father to Atreus, but he's kind of just fumbling his way doing it like any parent usually would. Because one of my favorite little moments from the game is like he's trying to reach out to Atreus. Like you see him put his hand up, but then he just reaches it back because he doesn't know how to like give that love that he wants to express.
I don't blame him. His fucking father was awful.
Yeah, daddy issues.
No, but like that is a good point though. It's like I remember you made this point a few months ago when we were talking, but the visual storytelling of God of War is like really subtle but also very effective in like showing you where the characters are in terms of their growth and where they are in the story. And like the main one that you pointed out was Kratos reaching his hand out to Atreus.
Yeah, because it's not like a detail that they're outwardly pointing out. They'll be like, oh my god, I am such a bad father and I cannot communicate with my son. No, they visually, like, they set up the scene, they zoom in, and they'll, like, actually just show you without saying many words. Which is just, it's not something you really get to see with a lot of storytelling. It's a bit rare, because it's hard to communicate that without a very experienced writer on the team. Guys?
No one talking, wow. 50 minutes, cut that out.
I'll talk. And you know what I'm gonna talk about? I'm gonna talk about more of the characters because they deserve love too. Because this isn't just about Kratos and Atreus, even though they are the big focal point. It is about the Norse mythology, and that includes characters like Balder, Freya,
and his gate,
Odin,
Thor, who isn't in 2018, but wait till Ragnarok.
Like Rock and Sindri, these are all characters that are also very, very well written. Like Freya, who doesn't, Freya, who like has been at Odin's mercy for almost her entire life and is just tired of it. All she wants is to be with her son, to let him forgive her because she did something that to him is unforgivable, and she does this. She tries to be a better person and help Kratos and Atreus whenever she can, even though Kratos and Atreus are also like basically mortal enemies with her son, or other vice versa, because Balder is a man who cannot feel pain, and
because of his gate.
Yeah, sure, guy.
Because he has sex with bears, just like in Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay. And his mother did that to him. Actually, that might be a spoiler. It's fine. If they're this far in the episode, they've probably played the game before.
Probably.
But their dynamic is so good because it's kind of the opposite of what's going on with Atreus and Kratos, whereas Atreus and Kratos are getting closer to each other, learning more about each other. Freya can't help but know that her son is drifting away from her because what she did to try and protect him has only hurt him and hurt her and hurt everyone around them.
Yeah.
And he thinks it is unforgivable and would like nothing more than to kill her for it.
It's kind of that tragic part of an epic where like one character is just trying to do everything in their power to help, but it ends up just being more tragic for the other because it was, while they meant good, it very much harmed them.
Oh
It
yeah,
is-
for sure.
It is a difficult thing for that. And then like I do love that a big portion of the game is all about like familial relationships. You have two brothers, Brock and Sindri, who are estranged from each other because they both don't like the way the other does things. But as the game progresses, you start talking to each of them more and more until eventually they're like, you know what, we need to be with each other because we're better together than we are on our own. Or like even someone as like minor as like I guess as Brewer said earlier, the other character that joins you on your travel, even though you aren't blood related to him, he becomes like a brother to Kratos and to Atreus, and is like basically like a second mentor to
Mimir!
Atreus.
Yeah,
I guess,
because
I guess we could say his name, Mimir.
he offers good bits of wisdom to like Atreus. He's kind of like that cool uncle.
I'm sorry,
That-
Atreus.
Atreus.
Yeah, Brewer. Okay, Brewer just has a trend where he doesn't pronounce characters' names right.
Okay,
It's
Brewer.
Brewer has a trend where he has to go into a 10-hour shift and is tired. So I don't want to hear it.
How do you pronounce the vampire from Baldur's Gate 3 again?
I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3.
How do you pronounce his name?
Don't worry about it. No, but no, that's a good point though. That like, I guess we should. This can be our part of the story section, but after this point, I think we can talk about the more like spoiler stuff. But Mimir, I think, is a great contrast to Kratos in terms of like, he's someone who, as Kratos, is arguably just as flawed as Kratos, but he's much wiser in terms of like how to approach people and how to like make connections with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he always has like good bits of wisdom to like add on to what Kratos is saying to like kind of help Atreus.
Yeah, he is the smartest man alive, but that doesn't mean he always makes the smartest decisions. Which if you find out anything about Mimir in the game, you will understand why. But Mimir is one of my favorite characters in the entire game, probably
I
the
think
entire
they're-
series.
I want to mention this quick. There's a good side quest that like teaches that as well, because Kratos is like, Atreus is wanting to help this like lost spirit put down the souls of like the men that was on his crew, because he can't do it, he's dead. And Atreus is questioning like, why is he considered this like great leader if he led all of them to their death? And then Kratos makes a good point of even great leaders make mistakes. I just love that, because like with the lesson of bettering yourself too is like, no one is perfect, even if it looks like that. So you have to always keep working to better yourself and finding ways to improve.
Yeah, I want to make this point, and then I think we should talk about the main story stuff. But going on to the side quest, Cory Barlog, the director of the game, when he was interviewed before the game came out, one of the questions in an interview he was asked was, are there side quests in God of War 2018? He replied with, technically yes, but we do not call them side quests. Which, they are side quests, but he essentially called them lessons.
Well, some
Which
of the
I
side
think-
quests, I'm saying this as I haven't played Ragnarok yet. I feel like some of them will be important to Ragnarok, especially the post-game one.
Oh yeah, which I love, which I think more AAA games should do. All of the optional content is canon, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
didn't do all the end game content, a lot of it is just completely canon, and then you're like, ah shit, I missed this.
Yeah. What I love, after the final boss, like you go back to like the regular world and you can just freely explore it, but it's not just like, oh, this is you before the final boss. It's actually like, oh, the world's changed a bit after the final boss, and I'm wondering what's gonna happen now for this new epic tale. just teasing Ragnarok before it finally did release.
I think that's a great segue into the story, which, for reference, we're going to be talking about late to end game stuff, and if you do not want any spoilers for this game, which we all recommend you play this game, we think this is one of the best games to ever come out, in my personal opinion at least, it's one of the best. So if
Very
you
good.
do not want to be spoiled, click off now. But
And I will
let's get
say
into it.
this will probably be our last point of the night. So if this is where you're ending because you haven't played the game and you want to make the smart choice of playing it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Especially comment
Oh, yeah.
when you're gonna play it and start your playthrough.
True.
But
with that being said,
spoiler section.
yeah, 3, 2, 1. Atreus is Loki. Okay, cool.
That was
yeah,
such
what
a
do we think
wild
about that,
reveal.
That was a wild reveal, dude. Holy shit.
Dude, and he was like, "Oh, this giant's name is like, what was it supposed to be? Loki?" I was like, "Wait a minute,"
Wait a gosh darn minute, that's Tom
because
Hiddleston.
it gives me so many questions.
Yeah, I'm interested in your perspective because I haven't had that perspective in a while, Brewer, of how like his name will play into the sequel, which I obviously know how it plays into the sequel, but it's like
I
Well,
know
it's such
how
a
seeing
it
big
plays.
reveal.
Seeing how like at the end with like the giants, they're talking about like how the giants like they are really good at like seeing the future and prophesizing. Like they basically laid out the entire tale of what would have of what happened in God of War 2018 before it even
it was
happened.
Faye. It was implied that Faye was the one that made all the paintings, which is why all the stuff you can climb is yellow, which is
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, which, dude, there's so many areas you can climb. And so it's like, did Kratos' wife seriously see that as like, all right, I must paint all these areas in the world? Like, I hope she had some magic painting ability as well that let her control some birds or
He
something to
was
draw
a
paint.
Splatoon character.
True.
Real. But no,
But,
she would have died in water.
But it made sense though, because like it explained like a mechanic of the game of how like, why is there so much yellow painting where I can climb? You know what I mean?
Well, plus it was hinted at too at the beginning, because like the first thing you do is like you're chopping down the trees to like make the little altar to like cremate her, and they have all the little hand symbols on there, so which was hinting at like her direction with like the trees was also leading further into like literally everything else with the game.
I watched a video essay on this earlier, and one of the beginning points of that video essay about the game was the tree that Kratos actually chops down is a part of the protection stave around their house. So Kratos was inadvertently the one who caused Baldur to come, which was Faye's doing because of like future looking shit. But like the idea is that like Faye caused Kratos and Atreus to like venture forth and like
Yeah.
be like she knew they had to get out, and
Well,
she was
also,
like, "This is your time."
Knowing she's a giant helps it too. Like the reason Baldur even showed up there, he wasn't there for Kratos or Atreus. I mean, he had reason after he found out more about him, but he was there for Faye. He just didn't know she passed on.
Which is why the line of I thought you'd be much bigger like makes more sense, because he was literally looking for a giant, which is crazy.
Yeah, because out of context, it doesn't make sense, because you're like, why would he tell Kratos, the dude who is towering above him and is a absolute beefcake? Man, you're not as big as I thought you'd be.
Exactly.
For absolutely getting pummeled by the man.
Which it makes sense, because Odin probably told Baldur, "Hey, I need you to go find a giant in Midgar. Please go get them for me." You know what I mean?
Use your gate to get there.
Well, especially like since one of Mimir's tales that he mentioned to like Kratos was that Odin like had a very good relationship with a giant that foretold Ragnarok, and so it could be said that like he knew a lot of what was happening there, and that's why he like sent Baldur out for it. Then why he basically sends out Thor as his like just hit weapon, because like I swear every tale with Mimir is like it was all good until Thor came. We hate Thor.
Until Thor or Odin came, yeah.
All my homies hate Thor.
The Nine Realms
True.
lived in peace, but then everything changed when Asgard attacked.
Real.
Only the Kratos, master of boy, could stop them. That's the
Real.
end of my
When the
rabbit-
world
rabbit
needed
trail.
him most, he became a recluse.
Yeah, it is interesting, like where they're straying
Wait.
from like Norse mythology.
Hold
Because
on.
like I had so many questions when they said Loki was Atreus, because I was like,
I've
What's
got a
up?
better. I was just gonna say I've got a better version. The world needed him most until he banged, until he got bitches.
I'm sorry, but not good save.
yeah, I'm
were
sorry,
you
we're just
saying?
gonna move past that.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
What were you
I
saying,
thought
Brewer?
it was funny.
Now I'm trying
So,
to remember.
You were talking. Fuck, what were you talking? Wait, Liam, what was he talking about?
He was talking about Loki and Atreus and how
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Atreus
yeah.
and Loki.
I was thinking of like regular Norse mythology because like I don't know too much about it, but like I was thinking, it's like, wait a second, aren't Thor and Loki brothers? What does that imply here?
No, that's a Marvel movie thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so Loki, the significance of Loki in Norse mythology is that Loki is the one who causes Ragnarok by killing Balder, which technically happens in God of War.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I
that's
guess
why
in this,
that
yeah, I guess with
first.
the murals, that's why Kratos said that was Atreus's story and not his, because he was kind of more so just like an assistant to like helping Atreus grow into, well, Loki.
Yeah. Something that again, I haven't played the sequel, so I don't know if this actually does come into effect. But sort of in Norse mythology, Loki's ability to sort of shapeshift and stuff like that. And so whenever I do play the sequel, I wonder if that actually does come into effect and
Yeah,
stuff like
didn't
that.
he say a lot of stuff at like in the game? Like when he found out he had his god powers, he was like, "Do you think I'll be able to shapeshift into animals or something?" And Kratos was like, "I don't fucking know,
I don't
boy.
know.
I just
I
swing
think that was
axe."
excellent foreshadowing though into like him being Loki, because Loki is one of the only gods in Norse mythology that can actually shapeshift.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I think that was like a really good foreshadow. I think that was really good foreshadowing. Oh, not just that, but also like the foreshadowing of his powers, because Atreus is like he can understand animals when no one else can.
Yeah, that and like he can translate almost any language. Like at the end when he talked to the world serpent as well, that was, he didn't really have Mimir teach him. He kind of just learned how to do it.
That was raw as fuck though. Oh
That
my
was raw.
god.
That was a raw final battle.
Okay, did you
Dude.
think the final battle was better than the first fight?
Oh, I mean, yeah, by far. I mean, story wise or
Okay.
like gameplay wise.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, obviously gameplay wise.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it
Yes,
forced
but
you to
just
use
both.
both of your weapons, like with what Liam mentioned earlier. Some enemies will have frost, some will be hot. I mean, Baldur was both of those. He was a fire and ice type Pokemon.
Yeah, so you
He
had to
was
like
a
switch your weapons
Galarian
accordingly.
Darmanitan.
Some enemies were hot. You're right, Brewer. Like the Valkyries.
The Valkyries were pretty hot.
Oh my-
Mimir even stated himself as like, man, this Valkyrie's hot.
Oh
Just
yeah,
gotta-
fucking Mimir fucked Sigrun, and that is literally the best thing ever.
and
Mimir is
now
the
he-
craziest guy alive when you think about it.
And now he has no body, so he has no penis. Anyways,
Hey!
He still has got he still has that
don't
tongue.
underestimate my. Yeah, that tongue, bro. That tongue game gotta be good.
you're right.
Oh
you're
my
right.
God, can we switch
But
to something else?
No.
but going back in the story though, I think it's really a huge reveal that, you know, this was it was all part of Faye's plan in the beginning, that she would lead them. Not only that, but I feel like this is just more of a symbol thing, but I feel like because Brock and Sindri made the Leviathan axe as a counter to Mjolnir, it's like symbolic in that like whoever wields that axe or like is associated with the axe is able to like forge their own fate or like be able to do good for others. You know what I mean? Because like Mjolnir was crafted to destroy and end lives, but the idea that like the Leviathan axe was created to counter that like brings forth the idea that like it was made for the betterment of everyone living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I like to Brock and Sindri, when they were telling Kratos about the Leviathan axe, they were saying how like Faye chose Kratos. Like she didn't choose to use the axe on her own volition; she chose him.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy when I first met Brock in my first playthrough. I thought he was talking hot shit until obviously he upgraded the axe. I was like, oh, he actually did make this. But like, I think it's so good to establish early that how significant that axe is in terms of like where it's been and who's wielded it. And like you said, Brewery, it was important that Faye chose him to be the owner of the axe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think too is a good way of like making the axe feel like just as important of a part of Kratos' kit, because like you have the Chaos Blades, like those things are very iconic. That's what Kratos' character is known for a lot of times. But they made the Leviathan axe feel like just a part of Kratos' kit as his old weapons.
Oh, for sure. I think the Leviathan axe is like up there with the Blades of Chaos now in terms of like iconic weaponry. I know it's up there because people
No,
would.
it's more iconic. You know why? Because it's in
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I knew it.
You are. It's in
I got-
Fortnite.
Dude,
Holy
I'm a,
shit!
gi-
You're right.
I'm a giant. I foretold the prophecy of Liam mentioning
I got
Fortnite.
soul red. I got soul red right there. Holy.
Dude, I'm a giant. I can prophesize what Liam's gonna say.
It's gonna be Fortnite.
It's gonna be
Anyway.
Fortnite.
We should
No, that's-
probably.
Liam's gonna lose a game of Fortnite 3 times in a row, and because of that, he's gonna jump off a cliff.
Oh
That
my
is your
God.
fate, Liam. Can you fight it?
I will be like Kratos, and I will forge my own fate.
Also, forgot to mention when you're falling off the cliff, you're doing a Freebird solo. So
Oh, maybe I should go off the cliff.
Oh my God.
No,
But,
I'll be like Kratos jumping off the world tree.
dude, that was so funny
Oh
because
my
I did that a
God.
couple times before it was revealed. Like that's an actual thing you need to do. I was like, wait, this isn't a joke.
Dude, that
And
was
that-
such a raw fucking moment, though.
Yeah, because when you do it like as a joke to like get a game over, it's so funny because he's like, "Come on, boy, we're jumping off." It's like, why are we doing this? Just jump off the tree, boy.
True. But
That's funny.
like Liam said, I think it's about time we end this episode. We've been rambling a little bit too long. Does anyone want to start with their concluding points?
I will. You know what I will
Go for
say?
it.
I will say that, as you could tell, each of us love this game. It is one of the best
Mr. Connor.
crafted. Connor likes this game a lot, I think. But it is one of the best crafted stories, games, everything. Like, it is actually like I said, it's an epic. You don't even have to be like a video game fan to appreciate the story that has been crafted here, because these are basically real people that they have made, and with so much depth, so much nuance to them, that it's gonna be hard to find another game where you will end the game and you will be like, God damn, what do I do with my life now? And there are not many games that give you that feeling anymore, and this is one of them.
I know what you mean because it was a game that like motivated me to do a lot of the post game stuff, even beyond just the special bosses. That tells
Oh,
you
for
the game
sure.
is good because you don't want it to end.
That platinum trophy is worth, by the way.
I would, if not for the fact Odin's Ravens. Yeah, I'm not looking for them. Fuck that.
Okay, they're much better in Ragnarok. I will say that.
All right.
By the time I finished the
anyway,
game, I only had like 7 left.
we should
Nice.
Get-
I
close
guess
this out.
I guess my concluding point is, this is a must play, especially if you have a PlayStation. Like, if you bought that system and you don't play God of War, you've made a mistake because
It's
it's
also
probably
missing.
it's probably on PC too. Speaking of which, I think it's on sale for $25 right now.
Is
Get
it?
it?
I'm not gonna
Yeah, I think it is. Well, it goes on sale for that a lot of times, so just keep your eye out. But it's a fantastic game that
It
has a
is.
very good narrative. It has amazing characters, story, has an amazing voice actor who says "boy." Its gameplay is like second to none. Like, I absolutely love the combat in the game. It's fantastic. There's a lot of replay value out of it. There's just so much to love about this game, and I think you need to learn to better yourself like Kratos does by playing it.
Connor, I'll let you go next.
I think I've got a pretty good ending point. Boy.
True.
Very true.
All right. I guess with my concluding point, God of War 2018 is definitely one of the most important games I've ever played. this was the game that like really got me into storytelling, and honestly I attribute this game to a passion of mine, which is writing, which is what I'm getting into for my profession. But the idea that like a video game could tell a story this good was something that was really foreign to me at first before I played the game. Not only that, but it reminds me so much of how like my relationship with my father like has changed over time, and how like we had our differences and whatnot, but we learned to like overcome it, and now we're closer than ever. So that really has like a very profound effect on me as well. Not only that, but the game is just fucking amazing and so much fun to play. I've played this game I think 4 or 5 times. 3 on normal mode, 1 on New Game Plus, and then the last one being on Give Me God of War mode. It's
I'm kinda
such
curious.
a good ride. Yeah.
About one thing. I know you've beaten the Valkyries. Did you beat them in God of War mode?
I wanted to, then God of War Ragnarok came out.
Honestly, fair. But the Valkyries are already like hard enough, so.
Dude, they're fucking annoying on Give Me God of War. Holy shit!
Well, also, a lot of them. A side point before you finish up your conclusion. The one thing I didn't like about the Valkyries is I felt forced to use the axe a lot of times because of the one big AoE attack they had, which you basically had to use the axe to counter, unless if you were close enough with the blades.
Oh yeah, that one's dumb.
Yeah, that was dumb. But yeah, finished
I wish
now,
it gave
boy.
you like a little tutorial first before it did that, but I completely agree. But as I was saying, this game has such a profound impact on who I am as a person. I mean, fuck, it's my 3rd favorite game ever made. I don't think that this game is underrated in the slightest because it deserves all the praise that it gets. I think everyone should play it at least once. Like they said prior, it's on PlayStation, it's on PC, it's constantly on sale.
It's $25.
Also, you
$25.
can find a PS4 copy for $10. Like that's how I got it. It's super cheap.
Yeah, the game runs extremely well, the combat is fun as hell, the story is engaging and it's unique. It's simple but complex, but it's something that everyone I feel like can relate to, and it's something that I feel like everyone should at least experience once. But that's pretty much what I have on my part.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah. Any last things before we conclude this episode, boys?
No, I'm sorry. We got it, bro. We got it. And you know what? I know. I have one last thing to say. Boy.
All right. I think, boy and girls out there, I think if you want to better yourself, how about you go and like and subscribe?
Oh my god.
and comment why you want to play God of War, or maybe one of your favorite moments in the game.
I hate you. And throw that Leviathan axe and recall it on that subscribe button.
True. Do a combo on the fucking comments section. Tell us what your favorite part of God of War was. But with that being said, everyone, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We've been FetchQuest, and this has been our episode on God of War 2018. Thank you very
0 out of
much.
10.
See you later.
Thanks
No
for watching,
troll sex.
everyone.
No troll sex.
Boy.
0 out of 10. 0 out of 10. No troll sex.